Honest J. Nowak. Coming at you live. Alright. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak Graphix. Today on HJ and Graphix, let's go right on ahead and pick out yet another impressive pick that I have managed to put down on the top 20 best PS4 games countdown from quite some time ago. So, if you're familiar with Bandai Namco, then you'd probably be familiar with Jump Force, a nice way of representing the 50-year anniversary of the real-life Jump Force manga. But it's also important to note that around the same time, by the end of 2019 and early 2020, was when Bandai Namco released Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Basically the latest that we got in Dragon Ball Z related video games. And what I can say about this one is that out of all the Dragon Ball Z games that I played, and I've played several of them throughout my childhood, I especially remember the 2002 entry known as Budokai, which was followed along by 2 and 3, which of course were not necessarily as well known. But the truth is, in comparison to Budokai, I gladly consider Kakarot to be way better, actually. It's probably the best I've ever seen in Dragon Ball Z related gaming ever in history. So much so that I not only would call it the best Dragon Ball Z related video game of all time, but at least for a PS4 entry, it's probably better than all others we've seen. And there are quite a few. You got Xenoverse, you got Fighter Z, and you got a variety of other Dragon Ball Z related video games that were released on the PlayStation 4, kind of similar to how the Monster Jam Steel Titans duology in 2019 and 2021 was basically preceded by other PS4 entries of the Monster Jam series with a game called Crush It, for example. But the way I see it, a lot of these other PS4 games relating to Dragon Ball Z, they seem to pale, very much so, in comparison to Kakarot 2019 to 2020, because it's just amazing. When I first played this game back in April and May 2021, I had no idea what I was pretty much getting into. As soon as I saw the intro to this game, wow. The animation style they used on this probably felt a bit similar to what Transformers Devastation did. A way to give us a bit more of a Japanese sort of vibe. At the same time, it was basically an Americanized title by all means. But it's probably important to know that because both Transformers and Dragon Ball Z were also Japanese, pretty much, mostly as an original type of thing, it just so happens that it becomes more popular for American audiences, as it turns out. But the way I see it, Japanese or American, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is just beyond impressive, by all means. The animation style on this is very much akin to what you would expect to see when it comes to Dragon Ball Z related anime entirely. And when discussing anime, I was not necessarily a huge fan of it growing up, but by this point in time, I could go all day talking about different anime of all sorts of things. I don't know, maybe you could probably request to have an anime-related countdown video of some sorts if that ever happens, but no matter what kind of anime it may be, I will be sure to give out my best picks. But anyways, Kakarot does, in fact, have everything it possibly takes to probably be the best game in the Dragon Ball Z-related franchise of all sorts of media that has taken place, and, of course, probably one of the best PS4 games I've ever played. I consider it to be number 7 of all the best PS4 games I've ever played. And that is for a variety of reasons. First of all, the storyline. It's important to know that there were several different sagas inside of the original main Dragon Ball Z canon, beginning with the Saiyan Saga, which resulted from the very beginning with Goku and Gohan going together, Goku battling against Piccolo, then Raditz crashing down on Earth, learning about Goku's existence as a Saiyan, and wanting to force Gohan to destroy the whole Earth and kidnapping Gohan to try and convince Gohan to do so. And then of course after Goku and Raditz are both killed by Piccolo's special beam cannon, then well, Goku has to travel the long, long road of Snake Way, 600,000 plus miles, just to go see King Kai's planet. And in the end, Vegeta and Nappa, two other Saiyans, who come over to avenge Raditz and try to defeat Goku and whatever life is on planet Earth, they end up failing because Nappa gets killed and Vegeta gets severely injured by Goku's Spirit Bomb technique. Then of course there was another saga that followed, Planet Namek, in which Gohan and Krillin and Bulma go to the planet Namek to find another set of Dragon Balls after Piccolo was killed, which of course left Kami killed, which of course left the original Dragon Balls on Earth to disappear. So in turn, they try to go find the Namekian Dragon Balls as a way to help bring everyone back to Earth to life. And upon doing so, they encounter one of the most powerful enemies in the known universe, which of course is Frieza, and a rather big army of other elite soldiers. The 5 members of the Ginyu Force, of course, they're all there pretty much. And in the end, of course, the wishes are made, everybody's back on Earth safely, Frieza's defeated, and Goku somehow manages to make it out alive after achieving a Super Saiyan form. And then there's the Cell Saga, which of course details about a visitor from the future who also happens to be a child of Vegeta and Bulma, who goes over to tell some warnings about how in a few years Goku might die from a virus, and how a group of androids will be down to destroy all life on the planet, leaving it a barren wasteland. And with Trunks being the potential only fighter to help save everybody, and who's also capable of turning into a Super Saiyan, goes back in time to help try to prevent this disaster from occurring. And then of course, there appears Cell, an unbelievably powerful android who has the power to absorb anything in order to increase overall energy potential. But after absorbing a few other androids of all sorts, including 17 and 18, as well as blowing up android 16, Cell becomes strong enough to potentially kill everybody. But then it turns out that Gohan actually is the only hope that Earth can rely on in order to defeat Cell. It gets down to a point where Gohan actually does manage to do so with a supercharged Kamehameha while having one arm broken and the other one fully functional. By the end of that saga, it almost seemed like everything was over. Because the thing is that in the Budokai games, pretty much, the first one especially, that was where it pretty much all ended. But in Kakarot, we actually get to have a bit of a continuation. The Majin Buu saga. I can't necessarily be sure why exactly that was left out to begin with in the Budokai trilogy, but anyways, when Kakarot basically came out, and when I went on ahead to play it, I basically found that out for myself. A 4th saga in the whole series. But it basically tells us about Majin Buu, the next most powerful enemy to face against. And not to mention the mighty wizard Babidi, as well as a variety of other unique enemies of all sorts. Gohan is now age 16 in high school and basically getting along with some people here and there while also trying to do some superhero related work, and then gets caught red-handed by somebody and has to enter the world tournament so that way the secret identity of this masked vigilante is not revealed. It's almost like with Batman pretty much. Every single day pretty much is a nice big struggle to try and prevent the identity of Bruce Wayne from being revealed. But anyways, upon entering the world tournament, Goku would appear. Of course, you remember when Cell basically blew up both Goku and King Kai after Goku used instant transmission on Cell to pretty much, take Cell away from Earth. But the thing is that Goku basically comes back down to Earth for a whole day to basically also enter the world tournament along with several other people, pretty much. So Gohan and the others are pretty much not the only ones there. But anyways, it gets down to a point where somebody by the name of the Supreme Kai comes down and asks Gohan for a favor. And that of which would actually be to prevent the birth of Majin Buu from taking place. And Majin Buu, of course, is somebody who is probably one of the goofiest known villains in the freaking world. Like, a guy who wears a freaking soggy diaper and turns anybody into chocolates. Like, That right there is just the purest of all comedy that I could have ever experienced in my life. Like, way better than that Mortal Kombat joke I was taught on in middle school. Way better than the likes of the so-called like race car thing that my grandparents taught me when I was younger. And like a variety of other things. Even better than that skateboarding extreme video by 4 guys 1 card. Yeah, you can pretty much look that up. But anyways, the Majin Buu saga goes on to a point where eventually fusions take place, a lot of things pretty much happen, yada yada yada. They get transported to another planet after Earth is completely destroyed. They try to use the Dragon Balls to repair every kind of bit of damage that Majin Buu had done. And then eventually, Goku unleashes a spirit bomb that is so huge that Majin Buu couldn't even withstand its power. So, that leads to the permanent defeat of this exact kind of Majin Buu, pretty much. Super Buu or Kid Buu doesn't really matter to me, but in the end, that's pretty much the whole main saga for you. And everything else you could pretty much just leave for yourself. But if I were to describe everything for you, based on the variety of different things that you get to do, other than just, well, watch the amazing cutscenes that help detail every single bit of the story that you need to know, it really makes it feel like you're watching the original show. But in a whole new way. Because you basically get one-on-one combat in a more three-dimensional sort of way, with a variety of different attacks that you have to perform specific button combinations for, which they gladly give you a few ways to do so by helping you out with a little box on the bottom left corner of the screen, and on the bottom right corner of the screen it indicates your health level, your power level, your ki level, and otherwise pretty much. And then of course it's also important to note that other than the fighting and the cutscenes, you also get a variety of other things to pretty much do. You have shops that you can visit, you have a huge open world that you can experience, a lot of RPG style battles where sometimes enemies come face to face with you, and you pretty much have to take them all out in order to basically go anywhere else. And then of course, in the storyline itself, you also get some things out there, including trivia segments, especially during the first 2 sagas pretty much, and you even get yourself a racing saga. Yeah, I might as well just mention this really quickly, where this game literally breaks the line between fiction and reality in a part of the game where Chi-Chi basically convinces Goku and Gohan to go on a road trip to a vacation, but before doing so, Goku has to go to driving school. Like, wow. A fictional piece of Japanese art breaks the line between fiction and reality just like that. It breaks through and gives us a bit more precise feel, yet realistic feel actually, of how it would be like if you were to basically take the Dragon Ball Z characters and put them in your own shoes. Like seriously, Goku and Piccolo driving around in cars. Who would have thought that something this amazingly impressive of a twist would take place? A way to break the line between fiction and reality that we've never even expected to happen. But yet it is relevant because I know that something like this has happened in the original show and a variety of other things out there. So the game itself is not alone when it comes to basically giving us that sort of impressive little surprise right there, but otherwise that is amazing. Goku and Piccolo go to driving school and get their licenses, and Goku and Chi-Chi and the others pretty much just go on a road trip together. Like, that is amazing if you really ask me. So to summarize basically what you can do in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you have amazing graphics, supreme animation, an amazing level of accurate yet exciting attacks to use against your enemies, a lot of 3D related combat that you get to pull off with multiple enemies to face sometimes, racing, slot machines, card games, and cutscenes, explosions, amazing colorful blasts that take place, and shopping and all that good stuff. And you even have yourself the unique way to basically progress through. So, you have a large sort of tree list that basically allows you to get through different abilities and the like. And there are certain times where you can also train to be able to earn some new moves out there, like the Big Bang attack by Vegeta, or even the amazing Final Flash, and a variety of other things as well. So pretty much you get yourself a nice way to work yourself up to a point where you can basically earn all kinds of moves of all sorts that all the characters have within their own right. So that's a pretty unique way to pretty much get to it. But I guess something else I should probably mention would basically be the soul emblems, because there are basically times where you encounter new characters, and with that you earn new soul emblems. These emblems can also be progressed to certain points to basically allow for certain abilities to be administered, and also to allow for higher progression of a variety of other things out there, including cooking talent, fighting talent, training talent, and otherwise to take place. And you pretty much have a huge selection of characters to go for. From Goku and Gohan, to Piccolo, to Kami, to Elder Guru, to Goten, and so many other characters out there. I tell ya, this game was just nothing but so much darn fun. I played through the entire game itself, the main story, and I realized that there are in fact a lot of other things that you could do there. But I mainly didn't want to go way too far on that, so I basically just stuck with all 4 of the main sagas, plus some other things pretty much. But I did learn that there are in fact some DLC packs that you can get, including Super Saiyan God, where Vegeta and Goku both go off to a land to find Beerus and Whis. Basically, these are the beings who are able to give Goku and Vegeta the power to be a Super Saiyan God. And this, of course, will also allow for Goku's trademark legendary attack, the Dragon Fist, to take place. So, I tell you, I mean, this game is just way too darn fun to ignore. If you really are a hardcore fan of the Dragon Ball Z series, then this game is really the perfect pick for you. And a lot of people might digress because of a variety of some things out there, because of how long it is for the most part, because of how there are a lot of things, including the RPG style battles where you're basically forced to sit into certain spots until you defeat all the enemies pretty much. And then there are the times where it almost feels monotonous in a ways, because you are technically playing a lot of the same sort of stages over and over and over again, and then you're watching very, very long cutscenes and waiting through some long load screens pretty much, which are typically detailed with a lot of things out there to prevent you from feeling like you're wasting your time, and some other things as well. They might all seem like they're flaws, but deep down, the game itself is just an amazing way to follow the original series, and probably even the original manga itself. It really is that impressive. And the fact is that just like with a variety of other amazing titles out there, this game is going for a pretty low price nowadays. So, if you can't pick yourself up a copy, usually it'll be on the cheap in some places, then I suggest you go ahead and pick one up, because it will be probably the best $20 or less that you might have ever spent. $20 or more, it's probably a rare case, depending on who's basically selling it to you. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it there. If you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.